I often tell my sales guys and sales coaches when somebody calls in to buy a camper, I ask them to ask this question. If you don't want to camp with this person, don't sell them a trailer. Hey everyone, Shane here with ROA Off-Road. Today is another Campfire rant. We have tons of Campfire rants. Go check out our rant list. There's so many different topics we go over, like why you should buy a trailer, why you shouldn't buy a trailer, or why we drop Black Series. There's a plethora amount of videos out there in our rant section. Some of it's educational, some of it's just kind of me ranting about a certain topic. But today I want to talk about who we like to work with and who I like to work with. And this is kind of, this might be a personal thing and you may not agree with everything I'm gonna say. And I don't know if this is gonna be controversial or not, but here goes anyways. I'm just gonna go for it. I often say to the sales coaches, we're not just trying to sell campers to everyone in the world. There was a point in my life or in the business that, like when you're a startup and you're just trying to make it off the ground and launch, anybody that comes in with that green stuff, right, is a customer, and you got to take every deal that comes your way and you got to sell. And if somebody comes in and they're a little bit mean and nasty, you just grin and bear it and you just sell them something even though they're mean and nasty. But as time has gone on, I've told the guys I want to create and offer an experience that's unlike anything else in the world. And what that means is camping experiences, adventures, and rallies. And so I tell the guys, hey, listen, when you're talking to somebody and they're looking at buying a trailer, ask this question: is this the type of person that I would want to go camping with? You know, sit around the campfire with. And the reason why I always say ask that question, because legitimately, we don't want you just to buy a trailer. We want you to buy a trailer and then we want you to come to the rally. And we want you to come on an adventure with us. I found that birds of a feather flock together. We tend to find some really cool people that are coming to the rallies, and a lot of the people that come to our rallies and our adventures, they become best friends for life, and that's really, really cool. But I also think, hey, if this guy is just mean and he feels like the world revolves around him and that he's just trying to take advantage of us and just transactional, I say maybe send them somewhere else. I don't consider myself a Motel 6 or a Walmart or a Camping World. You know, those are very transactional companies. I don't have anything against Walmart or Camping World. I do have some things against Camping World, but what I'm trying to say is, like, when you go to Walmart, you expect a certain amount of service. You expect to get low prices and low service, right? Most of your service is going to be a machine because they have kiosks where you just go and check out yourself. You're not expecting a smiling person at checkout that's going to bag your groceries. You don't expect somebody to walk you around and show you where the food is. It's a very much transactional experience. And that's okay if that's what you're looking for. If you're looking for just a transaction, then go to Walmart. If you're just looking for a transaction in an RV or a trailer, then just go to Camping World. Like, are they gonna sell the cool stuff that we have? No, not really. Yeah, if you wanna get some off-road trailers, there are some off-road trailers out there that are more transactional, and you can go and find them. If that's all you want, then that's fine. That's not what ROA is about. ROA, we're trying to create something beyond just a transaction. Ask yourself, is this somebody you would wanna go camping with? Because I think at some point in life, you want to choose who you're working with. You want to choose your relationships. And we shouldn't be just controlled by the almighty dollar, right? We shouldn't make our decisions just off of the dollar. We should be able to choose who we want to work with, whether it's our customers, our manufacturers. We shouldn't just do things just for transactions and business. I think we're humans at the end of the day, and the only thing that we're going to have at the end of our life is our relationships, who we meet, who we spend time with. I'm pretty young, but the older you get, the more you realize how short life is, right? Time just goes by so fast, and you don't want to look back and just realize you've been in some bad toxic relationships and that it was all about transactions. That to me is just not a fun way to live your life. So that's one thing. Another thing about asking this question, this camping question, and I tell this to anybody that's new. We're looking at hiring a new service writer, and I told him, hey, one of the most important things is honesty. And the reason why you can't BS to a customer, and we call them roamers. I was explaining to them. I says, I don't want you to come in here and just sell. Because our service riders, when you get your trailer and you move on to the next stage, you know, where you're gonna get picked up and pay for your trailer, a service rider or advisor, he'll call you and he'll say, hey, I'm your point of contact. I'm gonna schedule you. I'll get you over to our finance so that you can get your trailer paid for, and we're gonna bring it into the shop and get the modifications done on it. At this point, they're supposed to advise you on upgrades you may want. We do a lot of cool upgrades here. I was explaining to him, I do not want you to sell the upgrades. I want you to offer and teach so that they understand what the upgrades are. I say, if you just start pushing things on them, right? At some point, my hope is that they come to a roamer rally and sit at a campfire. And they might sit across from you and say, hey, why did you push me into buying this? Why did you swindle me into buying? You know, and I'm like, if you have the mentality of a transaction and it's a one and done, yeah, maybe it makes sense for that guy just to push as many things on you, you know, buy all the upgrades you can possibly get, $10,000 in upgrades, whatever it is, and it's a transaction, it's done, and then you leave as a customer, as the owner, you're like, I didn't need this. Sometimes you don't need everything. You know, we have some people that will call and they'll say, I want one of everything. And I'm like, no, you don't. You don't want one of everything. Let's talk about what you are trying to do, what you're trying to accomplish, and let's get you what you actually need. I often tell a lot of people when they're buying campers, it's hard is because we deal with so many people out of state, so you want to kind of dial it in right up front. But if you're not too far away, or if you're planning on coming back, you know, through one of our experience centers through South Carolina or Utah in the future, I'm always like, hey man, take a stock the way it is, and it might just be perfect for you. Maybe, you know, in a year from now, you'll want to upgrade something, then you bring it back. To me, it's like, we don't need to just like be throwing things at people just for the sake of throwing things. This is another reason why I talk about this whole campfire thing, because I say, not only do you want to have a campfire with them, but at some point, you actually might be at a campfire with this person looking across from them. And if you misled them, if you weren't 100% honest with them, if you push them into buying something they didn't need, it's gonna be uncomfortable to sit across the fire ring from them. And they might throw some coals at you too. So be careful, right? You gotta treat people good. It's so important. And this is kind of like what we try to strive for. We're not perfect. This is an ideal, and we're always pushing. And you know, the new guys, we gotta always train them right. And sometimes we make mistakes, but overall, this is what we talk about. This is how we are trained. This is how we teach. Because to me, it's like, life is too short. It doesn't make any sense. This is like the perfect example of a company that will be transactional, is when you go in and you're buying a trailer and you have a small truck, underrated truck, right? A lot of sales guys at some places, they'll be like, oh yeah, you'll be fine. And the reality is, no, you won't be. You actually need a bigger truck. But like to them, they're like, oh, you know, the odds of them going and buying a bigger truck and buying this trailer are really, really low. So it's just easier for me to say, yeah, you'll be fine, and sell the trailer. And they don't really actually care about you. And then you go and pick up your trailer with your undersized truck and you can barely tow it home. And then you're all irate, and guess what? You had to bite the bullet and buy the trailer. So at this point, now the next thing you're doing is you're now shopping for trucks at dealerships to buy a new truck. And this happens all the time, and it's ridiculous, it's absurd. That salesperson clearly has a transactional mindset, and he's clearly doesn't care about the customer, because he's a one and done. He's like, I can say whatever I want, and eventually he'll be gone and I'll never see him again. And to me, like, this way of thinking is very bad. It's bad for you, and it's bad for business. Ultimately, it's bad for business because those people don't ever come back. Those people don't refer you because at some point they go, man, that guy was a liar, or he cheated me, or he misled me. And I'm not saying we're perfection. Our mission is always to strive for extraordinary excellence, right? To constantly be growing and progressing. And our mission is to always evaluate our beliefs and change so that it leads us to more progress. And that's what we're always doing here. But to me, relationships are king. At the end of your life, nobody cares about how much money you have in your bank account. Nobody cares about the size of your house. Nobody cares about the cars you drive. You know, the only person that cares about the car you drive is you. When you're driving down the street, nobody really cares. They're more focused about their car and what everybody thinks about them and their car than your car, right? It's just ridiculous. We live in this society where we really are not always focusing on the things that are most important. And the things that are most important are people, their relationships. They're number one, first and foremost, our family, right? And outside of our family, the people we work with, right? The vendors, our team, my manufacturers that I work with, I love them more and more. We've moved through some manufacturers over the years, and a lot of it's quality. We'll leave a manufacturer because of poor quality, but more important to me is also relationships, right? If I have a bad relationship with the manufacturer, that to me is a big deal, right? If they're not communicating with me, if they're not open and they're not dialoguing, they're not receptive to our feelings and what we want, what we expect out of things, you know, it just doesn't always make sense to work together. We've dropped a manufacturer a couple years ago. It was kind of a big deal for us in the off-road market. And yeah, we talked a lot about how it was quality. There was a lot of issues with campers, which is true, but guess what? Equally, and I don't talk about this as much, but just as much as the quality was really bad, the relationships are really bad too. Like, the relationships were just not good. Like, just some of the people in management were just really mean, very transactional, right? And obviously it showed through to their work and their quality. Because generally people that don't care about people, they also don't care about quality. Not always. My wife's just finishing a book on Steve Jobs, and he cared about quality, but he also wasn't the most nice people person. So obviously you can sometimes have a combination, but myself personally, I want to have a phenomenal relationship, and I also want to be selling the best products in the world. And I think if you can have a combination of that, but first and foremost, relationships are everything to me. Relationships are king, and that's truly, you know, at the end of your life, at your funeral, how many people show up to the door, how many people come in to see you, how many people you impact. That to me is like a greater key of success than anything else. And it's really cool when you get to go to a funeral where hundreds or thousands of people show up, because you think to myself, wow, this person was truly successful because he impacted so many people's lives. And a person that's focused solely on transactions and not about the relationship, not very many people show up to their funerals, let's just say that. And not to get all morbid at the end of this, but I just think it's really important. And here at ROA, we're more about relationships than anything else. So I'm gonna close this rant. I wanna turn this on you and give you a little bit of advice that when you are actually looking for a camper, not a camper, anything, a car, a camper, when you're buying something at a grocery store or a Home Depot. Dave Ramsey talks about this all the time. He says, does this person have a heart of a teacher? It's kind of like our camping question, right? Do I want to go camping with this person? If you're at an RV dealership and you're like, would I go camping with the sales guy? You know, would I want to go camping with the finance F&I guy? If the answer is no, 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 then these guys are not really truly passionate and users. Not everybody is, but something that can help you with every purchase in your life, whether it's an RV, a car, or anything else, is when you're working with a team member, an associate of that company, ask yourself, does this person have the heart of a teacher? Are they trying to help me and serve me, or are they just trying to sell me? And you can sense it. What you can sense when somebody comes to you, you can sense whether they're trying to sell you something or whether they're trying to help you with something. And usually somebody that's trying to help you is somebody that's going to be asking you questions. Hey, how can I help you? What are you looking for? That's somebody that truly has a heart of not just a teacher, but they're somebody that cares more about relationships than they do transactions. The people that are trying to sell, they're more transaction oriented versus actually relationship oriented. So always ask yourself, does this person have the heart of a teacher? Are they trying to sell me something, or are they trying to teach me and help me and guide me in what I should get? And the people that are trying to help you, they care more about you than they do the sell. And I think that's the person that you should work with. So thank you so much for watching. As always, we really appreciate it. Hopefully there's some wisdom in it and you can send it to somebody and they'll learn and they'll appreciate it. I've heard other people say this similar type of stuff and it's changed my life to be able to look through things at a different lens. Thank you for watching and have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.